And welcome back. It is Ray Michaels here with Total News Nation and Grassroots 50. We're here at AmericaFest 2024. I'm here with Josh Phillip.
Hey,
Josh, how are you?
Great to be here. Great to be back on. Yeah.
All right. You know this face.
Yeah.
This is Epoch Times, and they're doing some amazing things. Boy, you've been growing exponentially.
You as well.
Yeah,
It's
well,
great. Yeah, it's great to see.
No, I'm hoping that we can do some partnership stuff coming up here.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, we love. I had an opportunity to interview your CEO.
Yeah, Janice, she's fantastic.
Really. Now, I know that she just came in as CEO back in July of 2024.
Yeah.
But she has that heart to really give you the opportunity to do what you do. Oftentimes we see with organizations, somebody comes in and says, okay, I want it done a certain way, but kind of stifles you, doesn't it?
You know, I'm the kind of guy, I can't work in that environment. If I have a very totalitarian work environment, I can't do it. I kind of thrive in freedom. You know what I mean? And so the work culture at Epoch Times, the business culture has always been kind of, more free. They don't have a lot of bureaucracy. It's always been that the individual reporters have a lot of, the ability to look into things and investigate things, and especially if you've developed a lot of trust over the years. So I'm very happy with Janice. I really think she's one of the best things that's happened to us in terms of, leadership and such.
And her experience with other Fortune 500 companies.
Well, and she's very public. She's able to talk and network, and it's true that, she comes from the Fortune 500, community, I guess you could say. And so she knows how to network and talk to people, and she knows how things work. And I feel like she's going to bring us to the next level, really, as a company.
And I love the idea. She shared with us a little bit about your subscriptions, especially for the youth and college students.
That's right. We give free subscriptions to college students.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, they don't have money. You gotta.
No, but I mean the idea, because
Most
she
of them
said
don't, right?
she said they got 4 years plus an additional year to get them going.
Yeah.
But it keeps them involved. It keeps them active.
Yeah.
It keeps them informed on what's going on, because those decisions that they make, either in college or coming out of college, are going to be crucial for the rest of their life.
It's true. Well, I think my understanding of that is when people are kids, when you're, a kid up through your college education, for a lot of people, what you learn during those years is what you hold on to as an adult. And so I feel like people kind of set their worldviews during that time. I know I talked with my wife before, because I have a daughter. She's 14, 15 very soon. Right. My wife was saying, in terms of culture and religion, they say that up to about the age of 16, whatever you are at that time is what you're going to hold on to for the rest of your life, for the most part. And so it really is crucial.
Well, the biblical reference is build a child up in the way they should go, and as they grow old, they will not depart. But it's, a lot of times people are experiencing, they don't train up their child. They think they know their child as they send them off to college, and the reprogramming starts. They come back after college, and you're like, who are you? This is not how I raised you.
And it's scary. I mean, I've seen some, I guess you could call it funny pictures like that. They say, you ever see those drug commercials that says cocaine not even once, heroin not even once, and it has the before and after pictures. I've seen ones that say college not even once, and it's the kid before college and after college. You're like, what happened to this kid? It's like it looks like a drug transformation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's almost the completion of the indoctrination, right? Because the public school system was always built on, okay, we stand in line, okay, we all sit down, okay, we all raise our hand, okay. I forget who it was, but they
John Owen established a lot of it. Yeah,
right, and they said, look, we need to build workers.
Yep.
We don't want free thinkers. We don't want entrepreneurs. We need people to work in our factories.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the model was from the very beginning.
That was the model for the public education system, unfortunately. So the modern American public school system, not classical education like our founding fathers would have gotten.
Right.
If you read their curriculum, they were graduating from 8th grade with a better education than you get from college these days. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, they were graduating from college like 14, 15 years old.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at their reading materials, it's stuff that I would have to read on my own, but would be among the classics, the stuff that would really make you a functioning human being. But yeah, back to John Owen, the public education system was not made to create free-thinking individuals. It was made to create factory workers. And, the bell rings at a certain time, you show up at a certain time, you think a certain way, you sit down for so long, you don't talk to the person sitting next to you, you don't make a sound, you only speak when you raise your hand, and so on. I mean, given some good education, you should have some discipline. I'm not against discipline. But it teaches kids to not think outside the box. It teaches them that this is the way it is. You constrain your thinking within this very narrow frame of mind, and you get used to basically working this 9 to 5 factory type job schedule. It's not about teaching kids how to think for themselves, because that's not good for the modern factory worker. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I remember 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. It's like, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a doctor. And they had the, who do you want to be?
Yeah, I wanted to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
And an engineer, because my dad worked in aerospace engineering.
Now, it seemed to me that whole Industrial Revolution and the John D. Rockefeller, I think he kind of accepted that as well, because they needed workers for the railroad. They needed workers for the industries, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, a lot of this with the Owenites were the creators of some of the original systems of communism in America.
Yeah, but that came from... Was it? I thought it was Eastern Europe that came from, right? Or Germany?
It was. I don't know the exact origin, but yeah. But they initially, as part of the initial communist movement in America, they were creating communes, and so they created actual communist societies in America, and that was the Owenites. And as you would imagine, like communism always does, it failed. Right. I mean, what better place to try it out than in America, where you can do it if you want to. No one's going to stop you. They made these little communes. They failed. But unfortunately, the ideas they set forth were adopted into things like the education system.
Well, I sometimes hear students say, socialism is great. And I said, but it's never worked. Never. They said, well, they were doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I said, so you continually do something the wrong way, it's not going to work.
Yeah, funny how everyone who tries it does it wrong, right?
My brother, my niece, when she was in kindergarten going into 1st grade, they had to go over a little bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And at the top of the bridge, they say, my name is so-and-so, and I want to do this, right? And all the parents were sitting in the background, and he was so excited. His child was about 4th in, and somebody came up, hi, my name's Billy, and I want to be a doctor. Yay. Yeah. And he walks down. Next person, I want to be a lawyer. Yay. And his daughter came up, hi, my name's Crystal, and I want to work at 7-Eleven. And people are like,
hey, you know what? Achievable goals. Come on.
Oh, it was so funny.
Set the bar low. You'll always excel, right?
That's right. You're going to rise to your level of incompetence.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So what's happening recently? What are you doing? What are you working on right now?
Oh, man. So I of course, do a show called Crossroads, and I do investigative reporting. One of the so I just published a special feature, actually. Something really big is going on, which is the Epoch Times. We're under attack by China, by the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, this is...
I mean, for those of you who read Epoch Times, you might say, well, yeah, what's new? Because we're always under attack by them. But we actually uncovered a recent campaign. In 2022, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping himself, gave orders basically making an all-of-government program to activate overseas Chinese spy networks, including in the United States. And they want to eradicate Falun Gong, or Falun Dafa, which is a Chinese religion based on truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. And every company that was started by Falun Gong practitioners. Epoch Times was started originally by Falun Gong practitioners, Shen Yun, Performing Arts, NTD. Not saying that like everyone there is a Falun Gong practitioner, but the CCP regards us as ideological threats. And what we were told was this: the concern of Xi Jinping is he believes that when Trump comes back into office, which I guess he saw coming back in 2022, because of the influence we've had and our reach, he thinks that if Trump reads our media and his policies are informed by it, or his cabinet is, that we will help Trump basically overthrow the Chinese Communist Party. And so they regard destroying us as a matter of survival of the Communist Party of China.
Wow.
Yeah, and so what we were told and how they're doing it, the CCP is creating propaganda and fake information. They're actually allegedly paying people in America, journalists, YouTubers. They're trying to pay them to carry propaganda that they're writing to target us, and then they want to have other paid agents file lawsuits against us to create controversy. And so we've actually seen it. Epoch Times, of course, I don't know if this is in any way connected, but we're facing some, attacks right now on the legal side. Shenyang Performing Arts, they're facing attacks. They're getting like non-stop hit pieces from New York Times. And we found in the New York Times sources, they were hiding the Communist Party connections of their sources, because we actually uncovered that a lot of their sources have ties to the Chinese Communist Party, even going back and forth to China. They're working with direct CCP organizations. New York Times is concealing this, and they're using this, and they're triggering criminal investigations. And so we're facing this kind of wave of just attacks right now. And so we've been exposing this very aggressively. And that's one of the big things I've been working on, like, up until just recently. I just did a special feature. People can watch it on my channel, which is Crossroads with Epoch Times.
So do you think the Biden administration, because of their close ties, and we know that money is going back and forth from the Biden family network, and but even back in 2022, you said that they already foresaw that there was going to be this massive change coming over. Are they now scrambling, knowing that it's going to take place?
Well, so here's what's happening with China right now. The Chinese economy is collapsing. And so, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, right? You can even see on the surface now. Their real estate industry is about a third of their economy. It's utterly collapsing. The manufacturing industry is about a third of their collapsing. About a third of their economy. That's collapsing because companies are doing what they're calling de-risking. They're worried that China is getting too tied in with Russia and the Ukraine war. They're worried that China is getting too tied in with Iran and working with Palestine and, again, Hamas. They're worried that the Chinese Communist Party is getting itself so embedded in foreign conflicts that there might be sanctions, and if there are sanctions, it might impact their business. Also, the CCP is threatening trade war with the United States rather than backing off it. Trump coming in, he's talking about 100% tariffs, more than 100% in some cases, depending on what it is. And so for a lot of companies, they don't want to have their businesses in China because they say, well, if there's a trade war and the industry we're in gets sanctioned or gets hit with tariffs, we can't afford it. So companies, whether it's American or European or Japanese, they're pulling out of China.
Right.
And so, I mean, that alone is about 2/3 of their economy collapsing in front of our faces right now. The other about third of their economy is just enterprise and stuff like that. But that's being hit by the credit bubble. The credit bubble's tearing that down. Now, the big picture with the Chinese economy is look, communism does not work, not even in China, because people are like, well, what about China? Where does the money come from?
Yeah.
Western manufacturing and Western investment. The money comes from capitalism, as ironic as that is. It's not going from the CCP, I'll tell you that.
And it's not hard.
No.
Come on.
Yeah. And so that's all going away right now. They're collapsing, and because of that collapse, they're coming to terms with the fact that, hey, they're kind of up against a wall. It's like a cornered rat. And they're throwing everything they can out right now, trying to fight for their survival. And that includes going after pretty much anybody who speaks out about them.
And, to your point, you said that they're getting social media influencers, they're paying them. I remember during the whole campaign, as we were coming closer and closer to Election Day, you heard these social media influencers. Do you realize that anything that says made in China is going to be 3 times more expensive and we can't afford it? And
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you heard that whole thing.
Well, that's the icing on the cake, because what's going to happen? Instead of saying made in China, it's going to say made in Taiwan. It's going to say made in Indonesia. It's going to say made in Hecho in Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe made in Argentina soon. Those businesses are not going to go to America probably, like the low, kind of the cheaper manufacturer. It's going to say made in India, you know what I mean? They're going to other more responsible countries that have better standards, not toxic products, that have transparency, so you can go in and actually investigate the factories and make sure they're not painting your kids' toys with lead paint and poisoning your kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? And ironically, cheap manufacturing in China was already going away. It was already going away. It's
Right.
no longer cheap to manufacture in China. And so it's not like these things are gonna. It's not like a company that manufactures toys is gonna be like, well, we can't manufacture in China. Time to go out of business.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're gonna say, oh, we can't manufacture in China. Time to go to Vietnam.
Yeah, Cambodia,
time to go to
Laos,
somewhere else.
some other place to make it a lot cheaper. I really think that, and I know that Xi Jinping knows Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he knows that what he says, he's going to do. So he's kind of backing him into a corner as well, where Biden was just like, yeah, whatever you need, it doesn't really matter. His ties there were, well, I guess that's for another conversation. But
we can go pretty deep into that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think some of the accountability is going to come to the surface with regard to China and our relationship in the past?
A lot will. And this is important because when we think about U.S.-China relations, and even China is viewed through kind of the global landscape, excuse me, the important thing to remember is everything changed during COVID. And this is one of the, it's hard to kind of keep track of this because, Trump was pushed out of office at the beginning of COVID, right? What happened at that time? Well, Trump was waging a trade war with China, right? He was looking to make a trade deal. Then China, of course, released the virus on the world, as we now know. Then what happened? Other countries are trying to investigate the virus origin. The CCP started threatening them. They were threatening Australia. They were threatening Europe. They were threatening anybody who called for investigations. Then what happened? China started locking down its economy, locking down shipping. Countries started realizing they could not depend on the Chinese market for medicines or rare earth minerals or even just basic manufacturing because they were too unstable.
Right.
And so China went from being a country that was, I think a lot of countries were willing to work with it, to being a country that even Canada and Australia and Germany began breaking away from,
right,
as Trump was leaving office. And so Trump was the first one to really have the trade war with China. Trump was the one to really start a lot of this. But the world overall has shifted very, very, very strongly against the Chinese Communist Party, even in the Biden years.
Right.
And so Trump is coming in now when China is deemed the key enabler of Russia on the war in Ukraine, where China is seen as one of the key negotiators with Iran and Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, preventing a peace deal with Israel. China is the one leading the campaign to create a BRICS currency with Russia and India and Brazil to challenge the U.S. dollar. And so now we're at the point where China in the last 4 years has actively tried to undermine the U.S.-led world order, and the world itself has woken up, and even American Congress is actually overwhelmingly on both sides of the aisle against the CCP.
Right.
Case in point, the House of Representatives even passed the Falun Gong Protection Act, which again would hold members of the Chinese Communist Party accountable for any involvement with live organ harvesting, because they kill, again, religious believers for their organs,
right,
for the illegal organ transplant market. And so that, Democrats and Republicans are relatively on the same side when it comes down to opposing the CCP, which is a massive shift.
It's amazing how uninformed people are about what's going on there.
Yeah.
Organ harvesting is huge.
It is.
Huge there. But a specific type of person, right?
Yeah.
They want to only harvest the people who live a good lifestyle, right?
Yes.
Because those organs are much more popular.
So, actually, I was with Epoch Times when we first got the whistleblowers exposing this. It was really shocking. I've been with Epoch Times since 2006. I don't look that old, but I'm one of the old timers there. You know what I mean? So
You look very young.
yeah, and so I've been with Epoch Times since 2006. We were the first news out to expose what was going on with the live organ harvesting. The first person who came out was a woman. There was a few people, but one of them was a woman, and she said her husband was a transplant doctor. He worked on corneas, the corneas in your eyes, and his job was to cut the corneas out of prisoners of conscience while they were still alive for transplants. And basically, this guy was a mess, right? He couldn't sleep at night. He was having nightmares. Finally told his wife, confessed to her what his job was, that he was killing people, cutting out their corneas while they were still alive for transplants. She divorced him. She left the country. She came and became a whistleblower. We had a military officer came out. He was telling us the same thing, that they were transporting prisoners of conscience in like trains. They were chaining them up like cattle, and they were doing these transplants, harvesting people's organs at military hospitals in China. Shocking stuff. And we found out the main target of this was Falun Gong practitioners, because Falun Gong practitioners tend to live very healthy lives. Right. They don't drink, they don't smoke. They do like meditation exercises, kind of like Tai Chi, and so they're more fit. And in China, the CCP knew that they were healthy because the CCP used to promote it because it was good for health. They used to promote it because it was good for health. They only started persecuting it because more people started practicing than there were Communist Party members, and they deemed it a threat to the CCP.
Right.
And so, this organ harvesting market did come about for that reason, and the CCP suddenly has 100 million people who it can pick and choose to harvest their organs from. And what they do, they arrest people, they DNA test them, and so they have DNA on store, and as soon as someone comes in needing an organ, they can very rapidly find a matching donor who is a living, breathing person. They harvest the organs while they're still alive. They don't kill them first. They'll cut their hearts out, they cut their livers out, they harvest their corneas while these are fully awake. They don't even use a lot of painkillers, apparently. Fully awake people. They'll even take the skin off. They skin them because they use it for grafting and stuff while they're still alive. And this is happening as we speak in China.
Wow. This is tragic.
Yeah.
But that's what we love about the Epoch Times, is that you report. You keep us informed on these things. And you've got some great things going on. The best way to reach Epoch Times is epochtimes.com?
You go to theepochtimes.com, TheEpochtimes.com. My show is Crossroads.
And it's best to subscribe, right? You got specials going on all the time. I know you do. And especially for students. Here at America Fest, we got a lot of college-age students. And you get it for free. Now,
that's right.
What do you have to do?
If you're a student, we do have packages for that. You can go on the subscription website and you can find details on it, or contact one of our reps. We actually have good customer service. I know sometimes they put you like an AI system. We have good customer service, so yeah.
That's awesome. So they can see your show when?
I do my show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm on YouTube. I'm also on epochtv.com.
And you do these shows live?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, 5 days a week.
Wow. Oftentimes people don't understand that, like, it's only an hour a day.
A lot of work goes into that hour.
Tell them about the show prep before.
Well, I like to come in with some good ideas to show you. That way I'm not just going off the cuff. I actually do. My show is only partly scripted. I don't script all of it because I want to have a conversation. First half hour, I have prepped content, and of course, a lot of the analysis I don't pre-write, but I want to make sure I show you all the sources. I want to make sure I can show you original documents, and so I have to prep the sources, original documents, the research. So I'm not just reading just whatever is out there. You know what I mean? I want to show you the real news, and then from there. The second half hour of the show is a live Q&A where I take questions from the audience and we have a real discussion and we can talk about things. And if you've heard rumors, if you've heard crazy stuff going on, you can chat about it. I like to have an open forum where we can actually have a two-way street with news reporting And I think people love it, really.
Oh, they do. They absolutely love your show. And I see people standing in line just to get some autographs and pictures over there. So it's great having you here. This is Josh Phillip, theepochtimes.com. Stop by, see them. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff with you in the future, but you guys do a great job over there, and we appreciate you being here at America Fest 2024. This is Total News Nation with Crossroads 50. I'm Ray Michaels, and until next time, we'll see you real soon.